How's it guys? This is Billy Smart from Zululand, South Africa. I'd like to show you guys an introduction to the new Laser Costing Pro 2024. It's the latest and greatest version. It's about, in the 5 years, this is about the 6th, I think, probably maybe even the 7th major update. I'm just going to take you guys through a quick little demo of what it's all about. When you open it up, you will have your main page, as you can see over here. Everything is locked away so that you can't click on something or break something that you shouldn't be clicking on, that you shouldn't be breaking. That is so that we know that the system works properly and that your costing doesn't go haywire and you lose a lot of money because something in the calculator stopped working. However, the places that you can click, there's usually little drop downs where you can select your material. So in this case, let's say an MDF brown. We're going to make our Father prayer cutout, 600 by 400. I know from experience that it's about 18,000 millimeters of cut. Let's just be funny and say I'm going to engrave their name on, and it's going to be a 50 by 25 meter little raster engraving. And then on the back I'm going to score in a little message or something for the person, and let's say that score is about 500 millimeters in total length. And then I'm going to varnish it. I don't have varnish loaded, but I'm just going to select spray paint, and let's assume that I'm going to spray paint this whole item. So I'll load in all my information: 600 by 400, 18,000 mils, 50 by 25, 500 mil scoring, 600 by 400 painting. It tells me that the job is going to take 31 minutes in the laser. It's going to cost 308 Rand. But now I don't know what the breakdown is or anything like that. So here's where people get costing anxiety and they go, oh my goodness, this thing is super expensive. It's fine. You can go across here to the price breakdown summary. It shows you that your material cost you 25 Rand. The profit on your material, in my case, is 25 Rand. I've got a markup of times 2. The total cost for material is 50 Rand. If I were to give somebody discounts, I could go and say, look, I'm going to take my profit away because I'm making it for a church, and I can get 25 Rand discount because the material still costs me 25 Rand. It shows me over here in laser time. That's for my electricity, my tube, my setup fees, all of that kind of thing. There's 48 Rand. The paint is going to be costing 50 Rand. And then the most important thing that people normally skimp on and don't think about is your labor. Labor is 160 Rand. How that breaks it down to is that if I've had an employee working here with me, it would be 80 Rand for the employee. The profit I would be making on the labor is 26 Rand, and of that 159 Rand, 53 Rand was my setup fee. I'll explain the setup fee in a separate video for you guys. When we go and look at price summary 1 over here, this is what businesses should be using, and I believe everybody should be using this. It shows you what your total cost is, and it shows you what your total profit is. If you were to give somebody discount, you can go and cut on your profits. Never ever cut on your costs. A lot of people prefer, people like hobbyists, owner-operators, part-time crafters, etc. They claim that their time is their own time and they don't charge for it, which is fair if they want to do it that way. However, what price summary 2 does show you, and what's very useful, is that this total cost in price summary 2, that's your absolute minimum cost. What it costs you in Rand and cent or in dollars and cent out of your pocket is what that thing costed you. The profit that you would make, because you've taken your labor as profit, you haven't taken your labor as a cost, you'd make 234 Rand. See, the price comes out the same on both of them. So if, for example, you were making this for a church or a charity and they wanted to be buying this thing from you, you could then charge them 75 Rand or 100 Rand, knowing that you are not going to be making any profit, that's you just covering your costs. The next part of the program is the actual setup. It'll also be in a separate video. You run through this and you've put in all your information that you could possibly have. Every single cost is accounted for, and it eventually then works you out what your Rand per minute is, and this all automatically gets carried through to the calculation pages. You do the setup here once and you basically leave it until your costs go up. Step number 3 would be your material. So yeah, you can load in up to 1,000 different material types, MDF, acrylic, Romock. It's also got functionality that you can load in items, stuff like memory sticks, glasses, pens, whatever things we engrave on that we don't physically cut and make with our lasers. And then also an important thing to consider, what you should consider, is having your spray paint, your varnish, your waterproofing, all of those things in here. What's pretty cool about this page, you'll see that there's different colors over here. Once again, you can't click and break something that you shouldn't be clicking or breaking. You can only click on your inputs. Let's just assume that this Romock wasn't a material and it was actually an item. When I select item, it'll automatically change and format everything to green for you so that you can see the difference between an item, a paint or a finish, and a material. It's very important that when you're doing this that you populate all the fields. There'll also be a separate video on specifically just the how to populate the material costing in detail. The coolest part about the whole program is most probably the catalog. The catalog is what I would call the advanced version. Once you are comfortable with using the main page and your material costs, eventually you'll migrate and you'll start using this, and you probably won't use the main page unless it's for once-off jobs. On the catalog, you can put items in here which you're making all the time. So for example, let's say it's a wooden coaster, it's MDF, that's the size of it, etc., etc. And then the system goes and works out for you what's the costs per every line item, what's your profits, and it then goes and rounds off your total cost for you, your total profit. And you'll see here on the total calculation, 31 plus 58 doesn't quite give you 90, but in my total calculation I've made it that it rounds off to the nearest 5 rand. I don't like working in cents when I'm costing people. I work in 90, 95, 100 rand. Just makes things a lot easier for me. The cool thing about the catalog, you set it up once, you make sure that your length and width and cutting length and engraving and everything's correct. When you go and change your costs in your cost setup, your catalog automatically gets updated. You never ever have to update your catalog again unless the item size or something changes. So as an example, let's see over there, it was 90 rand for that product. If I go into my cost setup, and I'm just gonna say I've got a 950,000 rand machine for fun and games. So it'll push my price up to 8.17 rand a minute. And let's say I've got a very expensive person working for me, or a very good graphic designer, and I give them 250 rand an hour. It will now push my cost per minute up to 9.84 rand. When I go to my catalog, you will see that it automatically adjusted all the prices according to my latest and greatest costing. If you have zoomed in or something on a page, it doesn't matter. When you go back to that page, it auto zooms, it auto formats, it does all the hard work for you. Another part of the program which a lot of people are using, which I'm also pretty proud of, is the sublimation. I haven't advertised this much. I could be more focused on the laser part, but busy developing this with one hell of a speed, better and better, because more and more people are using it, and a lot of people have started giving some advice and some queries and stuff. But what you do here in the sublimation, you put the price of your printer, the amount of pages you need to break even, you put in your ink price, your paper price, your courier price, the price of your blanks, every single thing gets input here, and it then will give you, put in your profit margin, and it'll give you a recommended selling price. You can put in your desired selling price even, and it will tell you if your price is silly or not silly, if it's below what you should be charging. I'll also do a separate video specially just on the sublimation costing. The sublimation costing also has a catalog which works awesome. You put in your information of your items that you do regularly, and it automatically calculates the rest. When you go here and you change your costs on your sublimation, it will update it over there. The sublimation has also given you a chance that you can have 3 different printers, 3 different machines, because we know a small machine and a big machine and a Sawgrass and an Epson are very different prices. It allows you to choose which machine you want to be pricing on. I'm going to shoot back to the main page, And thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to do a lot more, and I hope to make a lot better videos. Thanks guys, cheers, bye.